Welcome to a webinar for responsible suppliers. Thank you for joining us today to learn about the Electrical Equipment Safety System. Some people call it the EESS, others the EESS, but it's a platform that helps keep Australians and New Zealanders safe when using electrical equipment. I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself and a few others assisting us in this webinar. I'm Carl Porritt, the Director of Equipment Safety of the Electrical Safety Office, and I'm joined today by Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm the Customer Service Officer.
And Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm the Policy Officer.
You may have contacted Hannah and Amanda. We also have Sam and a few others helping behind the scenes at the front desk there. I'll be handing over to them a little bit later in the session. Firstly, we'd respectfully acknowledge the First Nations people in the state of Queensland. We acknowledge the cultural and spiritual connection that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples have with the land and the sea. We respectfully acknowledge Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people are two unique and diverse peoples, rich with their own rich and distinct cultures. We pay respects to elders past, present, as well as the existing and emerging leaders who walk together in partnership on this journey. Wherever it is that you're working from today, I hope you find this webinar helpful. We'll talk about the EESS framework, demonstrate some key platform functionality, provide you some information about the latest platform updates. If you have any questions, please pop them in the live chat box and our team will answer them as we go. The EESS outlines the requirements for registration of responsible suppliers and household electrical equipment in a centralised national register. So how did we get here? As early as the 1940s, a certificate was required before a manufacturer could sell household electrical appliances in Australia. If you think of the old ceramic electric jugs with the live wires wrapped around that porcelain biscuit dipped in water, if you stuck your fingers in there, you get an electric shock. That one required the manufacturer in Australia to hold a certificate prior to sale. That old scheme was still in place when I started working in this industry in the late 1980s. I remember once I had a problem with an electric oven. I found the brand and model of an approval number on the back of the oven. I pulled out the old paper file, sorted through it, found some details, and I drove down the road and talked to the actual manufacturer, worked it out with the engineer, and everything was good. Fast forward 10 years, and I found myself in a similar position. But the approval number on this piece of equipment wasn't one of ours, nor was it held by another regulator. It was issued by a private certifier. I had to contact them and ask for the details when I discovered that it was an overseas company that held the certificate. I wrote a letter to that company, but about 6 weeks later, I got the envelope back unopened, returned to sender. That left me with no way to fix things. So things had to change. From time to time, we need to be able to speak to the person responsible for bringing the equipment into the country. Someone that we can identify and speak to here where we live. And that's fundamentally what the EESS is about. It brings responsibility closer to home. Certificates are important, but the focus is on connecting people to ensure the common goal of safe consumer electrical goods are available in our communities. We need to identify those in the supply chain, particularly those responsible for bringing in the equipment and therefore the risk into Australia. Regulators need to speak to someone to resolve questions and issues they may have with electrical equipment sold to the market. Yes, sometimes it's a manufacturer here or in New Zealand, but more often the case these days it's an importer. A responsible supplier is that person. With the EESS, we now have a foundation on which we've built a live register of those responsible suppliers and the in-scope of household electrical equipment they sell and are accountable for. The EESS is that register. And when a responsible supplier registers, they are authorised to apply the regulatory compliance mark, which we'll show shortly. It's a declaration that they comply with the EESS regulations. Let's talk about the framework in more detail. The EESS introduces features we need to solve several issues. It allows us to track equipment sold through the supply chain. We need information about the equipment, where and how it's sold. For example, while we want to know the source, we also want to know if other companies are selling the same product under a different brand. After all, there can be multiple importers bringing in the same equipment. Power supplies, for example, are often sourced by many companies from the same manufacturer and even under the same certificate. The EESS means we can more effectively track where the equipment originates, and it also captures information about that equipment that lets us identify it in the market. It requires the responsible supplier to make declarations that they have evidence on hand to prove that the equipment meets the relevant electrical safety standards. And that's all about protecting the consumer. Unfortunately, the old system lacked a central place for us to keep all of this information. Having one central registration system that all the different parties can access and have input into benefits everybody. Regulators have deeper access to monitor and enforce safety laws, but others have access too. Certifiers can upload their certificate details to enable responsible suppliers to link to those certificates. Responsible suppliers have access to register themselves and their in-scope electrical equipment, but now they have benefit from being able to better manage their own information, such as seeing all their own certificates and registrations in the one spot, seeing expiry dates, getting reminders to renew, or warnings that the plug and cord certificates may be near expiring. Consultants can also become part of the registration process. And consumers can dive deeper if they want to do some research into the household appliance they're planning to purchase. So, the equipment that needs to be registered is the high-risk stuff. It's categorised as level 3 and level 2, and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a minute. And it's all centred around being listed by the brand and model. It's critical the registrations very clearly list all brands and models correctly. And finally, the regulatory compliance mark, or the RCM. The EESS is helping industry by having fewer approval marks. Before, if the approval number changed, suppliers had to remake labels, change embossing tools. Under the EESS, the responsible supplier is authorised to apply the regulatory compliance mark, the RCM. It's one mark and it doesn't change, saving time and money for industry. The RCM will also help the consumer identify products that are claimed to be compliant with safety standards and to Australian electrical safety laws. You can see the regulatory compliance mark now on your screen. We tell consumers to look for this symbol before making a purchase. If an in-scope product doesn't have that mark, well, it's an indication that the product doesn't comply with the EESS and the supplier isn't following the law, so the consumer can make their choice. The EESS is a much more dynamic system where we can balance the regulatory requirements against risk. In the old scheme, an equipment type was either on a list or off the list, and to get on that list, you had to coordinate 7 governments to change legislation all at one time, which wasn't fun for anyone. Remembering that the EESS is about household electrical equipment that's in scope, and it's not just about the washing machine or the heater stationed by your feet in the home office. It includes some safety switches in the switchboard and the wiring behind the walls. But an oven in a bakery business, it's commercial, so it's not captured by the EESS. The EESS puts things back into the regulator's hands to dynamically assess the risk of a product. Understandably, the higher the risk, the more stringent requirements are. So for level 3, you need independent accredited test reports assessed by one of the authorised recognised external certification schemes, or RECs we call them. For level 2 equipment, a slightly lower risk, it's mandatory to hold a compliance folder, and that holds those test reports, instructions, manuals, schematics, etc. And that needs to be able to be produced to the regulator within 10 days upon request. And for level 1 equipment types, the responsible supplier simply needs to hold evidence in English that demonstrates that the equipment meets the relevant standards and that they can produce that evidence upon request. As mentioned, a certificate is mandatory for level 3 and not mandatory for levels 1 and 2. However, sometimes it's easier and more convenient to have a certificate of suitability for levels 1 and 2. It can make registration all that easier and quicker. However, if you use a certificate of suitability to register and then you wish to add a model or trade name, you need to modify the certificate before being able to register it. There's an expectation of ongoing compliance that equipment is not just pre-market checked, but the responsible supplier has quality insurance in place to ensure that the product continues to meet those requirements on an ongoing basis. Of course, the EESS is about the whole supply chain, not just the importer. There are still requirements and responsibilities for those further down in the supply chain, like the retailer who needs to purchase from a registered responsible supplier and ensure that the product they buy carries the RCM. Without it, they can't sell the product even at the retail level. And we've also got a lot more inspectors out there that are auditing equipment being sold in the market. All right, I'm going to hand over now to Hannah and Amanda, who are going to show us how to use the EESS platform.
Today, we're going to show you a few of the main features and processes to help you learn how to use the EESS platform as a means of managing EESS requirements. We'll start with navigating the homepage. We'll assume you've onboarded to the platform. We'll cover onboarding in another session. After onboarding your business into the EESS platform, you will notice additional features. Each time you log into the platform, you'll be brought to the homepage. You will see your name, business details, and role on the platform. The My Request section will show any in-progress applications assigned to you that relate to your internal operation. For example, if you open a case to update your personal or business details, it will appear in this section. Every application in the platform will generate a case ID, which is used to identify the specific application. My Applications will display any in-progress applications that relate to equipment registrations and certificates, such as equipment renewal or new certificate applications. By hovering your mouse over the left panel, you will see additional features. On the left panel, you will see Global Search. Global Search can be used to search case ID numbers to take you directly to the application. The Equipment Certification menu is only available if you've extended your business to be a certificate applicant. Under Equipment Certification, you'll see additional options for certificates issued by ESV, OTR and ESO only. Please note, ESO are currently not accepting applications. The certification options are New Certificate Application, Modify an existing certificate, Renew an existing certificate, Transfer a certificate, and Retrieve existing certificates issued by ESV, OTR and ESO. The Equipment Registration menu is only available to registered responsible suppliers. The equipment registration options are New Equipment Registration, Modify, Renew, and Transfer an equipment registration. Next on the left panel is your My Organisation tab. This is the main area you can go to for details on your responsible supplier account and perhaps where you'll spend most of your time. You will be able to see your business details, responsible supplier number, expiry date, your organisation's role and registration type in the EESS platform. The authorised officer will be able to renew the responsible supplier account in this section 30 days prior to expiry. You will also see buttons to invite team members, consultancy business and third-party certifiers. You can also add affiliate supplier details if required. On the My Organisation page are additional tabs. My Team Members displays the organisation's team members and their roles, and also displays linked organisations and their permissions, such as consultants and third-party certifiers. My Team Applications show your team members' applications. Manufacturers, manufacturer details for equipment registrations. Documents, view all declarations and receipts. Email notifications sent out in the new platform. Equipment registrations for responsible suppliers shows registered, cancelled, expired and suspended equipment registrations. History of supplier registration for responsible supplier. History of any changes made to the responsible supplier registration. Certificates for certificate applicants. List of approved, cancelled, expired and suspended certificates. Associated incident, associated check testing, associated decision, and general alerts.
Next, we have reports. In this section, you can generate reports relating to your equipment registrations and certificates. To view available reports, select All Reports. If you are registered as both a responsible supplier and certificate applicant, you'll be able to generate our report for all equipment registrations, component certificates expiring in 3 months, certificates expiring in selected time periods, and equipment registrations expiring in the next 3 months. Next, we have Search. The search function is an internal search only for your registrations and certificates in your company name. It is a separate pop-up used to search equipment registrations and certificates associated with your business. Under the Equipment Registrations tab, you can search by equipment number, model, trade name, and certificate number. Under Certificates tab, you can search by certificate number, model, trade name. You will not be able to view equipment registrations that are not registered to your responsible supplier account or certificates where you are not the certificate holder. After completing the relevant search fields, you will be able to open the equipment registration or certificate by clicking the hyperlink. The details will load on the main screen. Tip: the search screen often is full screen, so you have to minimize and make sure you go back to the main screen to see the search result.
Next, we have your payment cart. In the payment cart section, you can view current and historical payment carts and legacy registration payments. The benefit of the payment cart is that it allows you to add multiple equipment registration and pay once, rather than pay for each registration. It also allows you to transfer the payment cart to another team member to pay if desired. Note, you can only have one payment cart active at one time. After adding a case to the payment cart, you can click the payment cart number hyperlink to open the cart and proceed with payment. The payment cart will initially display with the details screen showing the case or cases added. To proceed, select Go. Under the Manage section, you will be able to remove cases from the cart and review the items added. Once you are happy with the cases, select Checkout. Please note, once you have proceeded to the checkout, you cannot edit the payment cart. You will then need to select your payment method, B point for credit card and debit card, or BPay for bank transfer from Australian banks only. Please note, once BPay is selected, you cannot change the payment method. Once you have selected the payment method, select Submit. For BPoint, you will need to add your card details and select Pay. It will then proceed to the next window to submit the application. For BPay, the payment details will be available to complete the transaction through your bank. BPay payments may take up to 3 business days to resolve and can only be completed through Australian bank accounts. Once the payment cart has resolved, an email will be sent for the relevant declarations and receipt of payment.
Next, we have My Profile. You will also notice a few extra icons in the bottom section of the tab: Notifications, Recents, Help, Your Profile, where you can manage your notification preferences, learn more about this application, My Profile, view and edit profile details and change password, and then log off. Now we have Inviting a team member. To invite other employees to act on behalf of your business, your team member will need to set up their email login on the platform first. Once set up, select Invite a team member on your home or My Organisation page and select their role, type their email and send their invite. They will receive an email with the button to register and onboard to the platform and then accept the invitation. Business administrators are able to manage and edit business details, team members, equipment and certificates. Users can only manage certificate and equipment registration. Enter in their email and send the invitation. The employee will then be able to onboard, then log in, and a case will be available under My Request to Accept. Here we have Inviting a consultancy business. If your consultant has set up on the EESS platform, you can invite them to act on your behalf to register and apply for certificates and/or equipment registrations. On your home or My Organisation page, select Invite Consultancy Business. Search their business name and select the drop-down menu. There are 2 permissions that can be selected. Limited consultants can only work on cases that have been assigned to them. When you have opened a case, you will need to select Actions menu, then assign the case to the limited consultant. You can then search the limited consultant business name, select them from the drop-down and submit. Full consultants can initiate and manage certificate and/or equipment registrations on your behalf. If you need to assign a case to the full access consultant, you can select Actions, Reassign Case, and search by the user's name or email address, select from the drop-down menu and select Create. Consultants cannot renew or edit responsible supplier details in the platform. After selecting the permission, send the invitation for the consultant to accept. Inviting a third-party certifier. This function is only for where the recs offer to register equipment on your behalf and only for certificates they issue. You will need to have an agreement for this arrangement prior to using this functionality. To invite a third-party certifier who has issued the certificate to act on your behalf, search the certifier's details and select from the drop-down menu and send the invitation. The certifier can then register the equipment on that certificate to your responsible supplier registration. You will need to have a separate agreement in place with the certifier and will remain responsible for the equipment registration being correct and ongoing compliance.
We will now go through registering equipment. This is the main process of the EESS platform that registered responsible suppliers need to master. Equipment registrations can be done by a team member of the responsible supplier or their consultant. A business that is only a certificate applicant does not have access to this menu. To register equipment in the EESS platform, go to the left panel and select Equipment Registration, then New. A new application will generate. Each time a new case is generated, you will be provided with a unique case ID number which is used to identify the application. On the left of the application, you will notice an actions menu where you can withdraw and assign the application to another user, the status, who has created and updated the application, the Details tab where you will enter the registration data, and the Audit tab where you can see the history of the application. On the Details tab, you will see breadcrumbs which display the progress of the application. The current stage shows the responsible supplier details. You can save your progress at any time or press continue to proceed to the next stage. Under registration details, there are two options to choose from. If you have a current certificate of conformity for level 3 equipment, select I'll be linking to a certificate. If you are registering level 1 or level 2 equipment with a certificate of suitability, you can also choose this option. Please note, the certificate must be issued by one of the recognised external certifiers, or RECs, or Energy Safe Victoria, and uploaded to the EESS platform. By linking the registration to a certificate, most of the information will be pre-filled into the application. If you are registering level 1, 2, or not in scope equipment on the platform, select I will not be linking to a certificate. You will need to enter the equipment details manually. To register with a certificate, search the certificate number and select it from the drop-down list. Select Retrieve to engage the certificate data into the application. Select Continue. Under Equipment Details, you will see the equipment family details, nameplate and product examples, and equipment profiles which have been pre-filled with information. In this stage, you will need to select the equipment profiles or individual models and trade names that apply to the equipment that you are selling. Each profile is based by the input ratings of the equipment and will display the corresponding model and trade name for that profile. You can expand the profile to show all models and trade names in that rating. By pressing Select All, this will select all profiles and will include all models and trade names in each profile. Alternatively, you can select individual profiles or individual models and trade names. When you are happy with your selection, continue to the next stage. If you have a component certificate that you would like to include in the registration, you can add this here by selecting Add Component and retrieving the certificate details. If you don't need to add any information, select Continue. Under Compliance Details, you can add the location of your compliance folder, add test reports and supporting documents. The information is not available to the public when the registration is created. Continue to the next stage. You will then need to review and tick the declaration to continue to review the equipment registration details. In the review section, you can choose a release date, which will mean your equipment registration details won't be available on the public search until that date. You will need to select your equipment registration length. Please consider the certificate expiry date when you are selecting the equipment registration length, as the registration cannot exceed the certificate expiry date. If you recall from earlier, a certificate is not mandatory for level 1 or level 2. If you wish to register level 1 or 2 without a certificate, select I will not be linking to a certificate. You then need to select the equipment level as level 2, level 1, or not in scope. You'll need to manually fill in the equipment registration details such as equipment type, tick if the equipment is compliant, and select or add the relevant standards. On the next stage, you can select the equipment family details as required and add product and nameplate examples. You will then need to add equipment profiles. If you have multiple profiles, models and trade names, you can bulk upload the details by using the bulk upload Excel spreadsheet template. To add manually, select Add Equipment Profile. Same as a certificate, each profile is determined by the input rating. You will need to add the model and trade names that correspond with that rating. For example, if I'm selling model ABC1, ABC2 and ABC3 under trade name 1, I would enter it like this. And it would then display like this on the profile. In this second profile, I sell model DEF1, but under both trade name 1 and trade name 2. I would then enter it like this. In this third profile, I have models with different approved trade names, but with the same ratings. To enter them in the same profile, I add model ABC4 with trade name 4 in model combination 1. And then I'll add ABC5 with trade name 5 in model combination 2. This then shows the models and trade names with the same ratings. Once happy with your selection, you can then continue to add component certificates if required, or continue to add manufacturer details. If you have previously added a manufacturer, you can search them in the list, or alternatively add a new manufacturer to the list. Continue to add the compliance details, tick declaration, and review your equipment registration. Level 1 equipment will automatically have a registration length of 1 year, and there is no regulatory fee. Level 2 can be registered for 1, 2 or 5 years. Once happy with all your details, select Create and add it to the payment cart. A regulatory fee is required for Level 2.
Thanks Hannah and Amanda for demonstrating some features of the platform. Hopefully you got some good information out of it. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat box. I'd like to share with you a few new features that have been added to the platform recently. Hannah touched on where they are located on the My Organisation page. The first one is the associated incident. From time to time, regulators examine electrical equipment involved in incidents and we share reports. If the report relates to your equipment, we may link that incident report to you so you become aware of that matter. Similarly, associated check testing, if we've gone out and purchased some products from the market, we send them out to laboratories from time to time to check that products in the market are complying with Australian safety standards. If we've check test your item, we'll link it to your equipment registration, and this is where you can locate it on the My Organisation page. Associated decisions are another area where from time to time the regulators will make decisions affecting a product type. It may relate specifically to your equipment or broadly to the type of equipment. So it helps you keep abreast of what's happening in the industry. General alerts are aimed at responsible suppliers more broadly. It could be the increase in fees, it could be affecting all responsible suppliers, it could be changes in the regulations. There are general information that again help responsible suppliers keep up to date with changes in the industry. So please visit it from time to time, check these tabs just to keep you aware of what's happening. Amanda, Hannah and I will now chat about some of the frequently asked questions that may be on your mind. First question, I'm trying to register a new appliance I want to sell using a certificate of conformity I was given. But when I entered the certificate number, it was asking me for the access token. What's that? Amanda?
An access token is a password that the certificate applicant holder has applied to lock their certificate from being used. It is expected that you will have a working relationship with the certificate applicant or holder, and as such, you should be able to ask them for the password. Some certificate applicant holders choose not to enter an access token. In those cases, the platform won't ask for it.
Thanks, Amanda. Here's another question. Do I receive an invoice for a renewal? Hannah?
Thanks, Carl. Renewal of your responsible supplier account occurs annually. You will receive a reminder when your account is about to expire at 30 days, 7 days before, and on the day of expiry. Only the authorised officer can renew the account. To do that, they should log into the EESS platform and go to the My Organisation page, where a green Renew button will display. Follow the steps, update any necessary details, and add it to your payment cart. At the payment cart, the authorising officer can reassign to another team member to make the payment. Payment can be made immediately by credit card using BPoint, or if your company is based in Australia, we can also accept BPay payments. Please note, BPay is limited to companies who have an Australian bank account due to constraints imposed by the banking sector, not by any limitation of the EESS platform. Once payment has been completed, you'll receive a receipt by email. The receipt also appears in your EESS account under Documents.
Thanks, Hannah. Here's another question. I've been told knowing my business ID is important. Where do I find it? Amanda?
Thanks, Carl. Your business ID is an important identifier if you apply for certificates. You can find it in several places when you're logged into the EESS platform. It appears on the home screen near your name, in the green banner, as well as at the top of the My Organisation page. It is also a field on your certificate when viewed in the platform. Note, your business ID will only show when you are properly onboarded into the EESS platform. If you cannot see your business ID, it may mean that you have a legacy account. If you need help to complete your onboarding, click on the Learning Guide link on the EESS website and check out steps 1 to 3. Each time you apply for a certificate, be sure to give the certifier your business ID. It will make it easier for your certifier to upload your certificate quickly. Note, if you are a responsible supplier only and don't get certificates in your company's name, the business ID is not an important identifier.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Hannah. We've discussed where the need for the EESS came from and at a high level what the EESS involves. We've demonstrated navigating the platform and a few features and how to do the equipment registration. We hope this has been useful. We certainly packed a lot in this webinar, but there's so much more to share. We understand some people only use the EESS platform occasionally, so hopefully this material provides useful. Thank you to all those who have left a comment or a question in the chat box. and we hope our team have been able to answer all you need. We'll be creating more content soon, such as explainer videos, which will be available on the EESS website. In the meantime, we've updated the website's FAQs, so please take a few moments to check those out. We'll be seeking your feedback about today's webinar, so please help us help you by letting us know what you thought and what you want to see more of so we can create content that meets your needs. We hope you've gained a better understanding of how the EESS platform can empower you to manage all of your EESS related regulatory obligations all in one place. Thank you again for joining and importantly for being active contributors to our electrical safety community.